You should be good, Joe. It says it's recording.
Yep. So I'm just waiting to make sure my volume is off. So you guys go ahead.
All set, Joe?
Yep.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the March 23rd, 2022 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. We'll open with the roll call. Mr. Urice is absent. Ms. Hostetter?
Here.
Mr. Chiocchio?
Here.
Mr. Sylvain?
Here.
And Mr. Renz and Mr. Haas are absent, and Chairman Finaldi is here, so we do not need to seat any alternates for this meeting. As I do at every meeting, I'll do the intro for the Zoom meetings. This meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though this meeting is virtual, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. You can participate via Zoom and see the audio and the video, or you can call in by phone and participate via audio only. Please be aware that we may have to mute your microphone or telephone to avoid an echo or some other background noise. Instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website, and all of the documents and materials that apply to the matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. As always, if you have any questions regarding how to participate in the meeting, you can contact the City of Danbury Planning and Zoning Department. As a reminder, the entire meeting will be posted on and can be seen on the City of Danbury website. We will follow the posted agenda as per standard practice. If prior to the meeting, any questions or comments on agenda items were submitted via email to the Planning and Zoning Department, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. Finally, please remember that technology glitches do sometimes occur. Please be patient if that happens. Moving on, Commission members, with regard to the minutes of the March 2nd, 2022 meeting, unless there's any corrections, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Let's call it Mr. Chiocchio, and I don't know who seconded that one. I didn't see. All right. Let's go with Helen Hofstetter. I think
Take your pick.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 The minutes are accepted. We have nothing under our public hearings agenda, and under continuation of public hearings, I guess I'll read this whole thing. 46 Mill Plain LLC. Actually, you know what? I won't. Let's just call it 46 Mill Plain LLC. Commission members, we did receive, I did receive a letter today from Cohen and Wolf from Neil Marcus. It's dated March 23rd, 2022. I'll read it for the record. It's via email. Mr. Arnold Finaldi, Chairman, Danbury Planning Commission, 155 Deerville Avenue, Danbury, Connecticut, 06810. Read 46 Mill Plain LLC, application for special exception, site plan approval, Westcon Park. Dear Chairman Finaldi, I would like to update you and the Commission on the status of the above referenced application, which has been continued as a public hearing to your April 6th agenda. As you may recall, the Commission itself and the planning staff have raised a number of issues during the review process, which have required the applicant to obtain further studies for purposes of making revisions to portions of the plan. Given the fact that we have a statutory time clock to complete the public hearing, it would be prudent for all to withdraw the application in contemplation of its resubmission in approximately 60 days. This will allow the applicant sufficient time to address all issues that have been raised and to make improvements to the plan. It will save both the Commission and the staff a significant amount of time by avoiding further review of the current plan in the areas which will be amended. Accordingly, the applicant is requesting the withdrawal of the current application and the suspension of all proceedings before the Commission pending its resubmission. In the spirit of cooperation, to the extent that the Commission deems it to be appropriate, we are requesting a waiver of a reapplication fee, with the exception of the fees pertaining to the costs of republication of notices. I thank you in advance for your anticipated cooperation with these requests and look forward to presenting an amended application in the very near future. With my usual regards, yours truly, Neil R. Marcus. Carbon copy, Albert Salem, 46 Mill Plain LLC, Jennifer Eminger, Deputy Planning Director. So, long and short of it is, 46 Mill Plain LLC has been withdrawn. You will note, I forgot to say, I think, that our next regular meeting is April 6th, 2022. Of course, everyone knows that. Make a note of that in the calendar. We have nothing under our old business for discussion and possible action, so we'll go right to the first and only referral. It's an 824 referral, March 21st, 2022, City Council Agenda Item Number 1. Amended Bond Issuance Ordinance Adoption, Danbury Career Center. And the report on this, the staff report on this is dated March 17th, 2022. With that, I will turn it over to Sharon Calitro. Sharon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So yeah, this is an 824 referral from council. They are considering, whoops, sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Okay. They're considering an ordinance appropriating and authorizing $207,900,000 in bonds for the planning, design, acquisition, renovation, construction, equipment, and furnishing of the new Danbury Career Academy. And that bond issuance includes various upgrades and improvements at Danbury High School, Haystown Elementary, and King Street Primary School. There is also money appropriated for the creation of improved classroom space to accommodate district-wide overcrowding. As many of you may be aware, the parcels they're talking about are located, well, the main parcel is at 40 Apple Ridge Road off of Kenosha. It also includes a driveway parcel and an additional approximate 6.4 acre parcel, which is off of Apple Ridge Road as well. And the project is described in the ordinance that I attached to the referral staff report. So your job is to look at the plan of conservation and development. What does it say about public facilities and schools in particular? And in the public facilities and utilities plan section of the existing POCD, it does recognize that there is a continued need for assessment, modification, and expansion of public facilities, and specific to schools. It supports the provision of facilities necessary to meet growing and changing educational needs of the Danbury school, public schools, including undertaking building improvements at all schools as necessary. I mean, I don't think I have to get into, I think we're all very familiar with what's been going on in Danbury public schools and the enrollment numbers and our need to address that. So the funding appropriation and authorization proposed in the ordinance will allow the city to do just that. The difference between what you may have seen a week and a half ago and this 824 is just they combine the questions. So it's the same total amount. It's just proposed in one bond question. So because we feel it's consistent with the plan, we have no objection to the issuance of a positive recommendation for the appropriation and authorization as described in the project on those sheets. And it is to locate, substantially improve, and acquire land for the Danbury Public Schools. So with that, I will take any questions.
Commission members, any questions for Sharon? Mr. Kiokio.
Did I notice that the council already voted on this last night or the night before, or what was that?
No, what they did was send it to a public hearing followed by a committee of the whole. So that the public hearing is what's needed in order to send it to a referendum to the voters. It has to go to a public hearing first, so that's what they did.
Got it. Okay. All right. And then some of this money is already appropriated, I guess. Is that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So it isn't like the city's going to go out for 207,900,000 and the 99 million that they talked about. They're going to you move that 99 million. They're not going to issue bonds for both. It really is a combination as related to the Career Academy. And then the other projects were projects that you had seen as part of the capital program, and they're just going to bond for them now, which frees up capital money.
Yep. And all of the items as improvements, they've all already in that capital budget. Is there anything new that you know of that's hasn't been discussed?
There's nothing new. I mean, the combination for its early childhood learning that's been as part Initially, it was a little part of the SNAP bond a long time ago. So they've all been around, but the other projects that are listed in the B section are all projects that were individually listed in the capital that you approved. They're just going to take them out of that and use the bond to fund them.
Yep, okay.
And then obviously the cost, the cost in the CIP, I think the cost for the Career Academy was an additional 40 something million on top of the 99, and now it's 164. So
Yep.
that's 164 of the 207 million.
Right. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Ellen, please.
I'm sorry, I think my PC here froze, and it was during the answer to Bob's question, I guess, about the funding. So are we basically saying it's pretty much the same? We approved a budget that included all these parameters, I guess. So is there I'm sorry if I'm asking to repeat, but is there a big increase based from what we originally had, or are we just shuffling it around between?
Well, there is an increase because of the increase in costs and associated with the Career Academy, and it's due to a lot of things. But the individual projects were all part of the capital that you looked at in one way or another, and that was the answer.
Okay, so when we
were
vote
individually listed, and now they're combined in the B part of the project. The A part is the Career Academy, and that did increase. That number did increase.
Okay, so the rest of it's stable. It's just the Career Academy has increased costs. That's what you're telling me. Okay.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
But they were all in one way or another, one way, shape, or form. They were in the capital in February that you approved.
Okay,
We're
so
just pulling them out and doing a new bond for everything.
okay, so we're getting the money that we approved from the bonds now versus something else.
Yeah. In some of those other individual projects, like the elevator, there's an elevator at Haystown that's going to be funded out of this. That was going to be funded, I think, with some note money in the capital. So that note money will then go reallocated to another project that was in the capital. I mean, the mayor's working on his budget.
All right, so basically, if we vote to approve this referral, we're approving it on the basis that it conforms to the POCD, and also that even though it has some increase in costs, we're fine with referring it with that as well.
Well, I with all due respect, I don't think we should. Your role under the 824 is relative to whether or not the city should acquire. As the statute says, you need a referral if you're going to acquire or substantially improve land for a public school. That's the question under 824, not necessarily fixated on the money end of things. I'm just telling you where the 207 million came from.
Okay.
You did see it in the capital, and the main increase was in the number associated with the Career Academy.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that for me, so I know exactly what we're going for here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Any other questions, commission members? I would only comment, I'm just thinking back a couple of meetings ago, the POCD meeting, where I made the comment Danbury is a victim of its own success. I mean, the good news is that people perceive Danbury as a good place to live, and they move here, and our population grows, and that's a good thing. But of course, with the population growth comes some strains, and the number one thing is a strain on our school system. I think our superintendent was on the meeting, Kevin Walston, and I was surprised to hear how much of his day he spends just simply trying to figure out where to put kids. I think we're up over 12,000 enrolled in the Danbury school system now. And it just, there's an article every day about overcrowding in schools. Our roads are taxed, traffic. So with that population growth, being that Danbury is perceived to be a desirable place to live, comes some challenges. And this is what we have to do. We have to have more room to put these kids in school. And this is a solution to that. So that's how I see the world. Anything else, commission members? If I don't, without any other comments, I'll entertain a motion, I guess, for a positive referral.
So moved.
Positive referral from
Come
Mr.
on, Bob. All right, second, I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Hofstadter. Any other comments?
And Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, just for the record, because of that it's consistent with the plan of conservation and development to acquire.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please,
Sure,
thank
that's
you.
right.
Consistent with the POCD, yes. Okay, a motion has been made and seconded for a positive referral. Is there any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 This gets a positive referral.
Thank you.
Looking at our agenda, there's a few new business items shown. I don't think there's had any comments on any of them. Hold on. Jen, was there a correction you wanted to make on one of them?
Yeah, there's a couple of corrections. So under number 1, which is 33 Crosby Street, we're going to open that public hearing on the 6th, but we're actually going to give it a new special exception number and not reuse SC 445, which is an old special exception. You'll read in the staff report why, but I at least wanted to acknowledge that we did assign it a new number. The public hearing will open on April 6th. Number 2, 100 Mill Plain, we had noted hearings opening on the 6th, but they didn't submit a revised site plan with the application. So we're not ready to open that. It will hopefully likely be April 20th. And then we got the application back in for 12 Great Pasture for modern self-storage. And we had an error noted April 6th. That hearing has not yet been scheduled because EIC, if you remember, one of the reasons they had to withdraw was because they needed to submit to EIC. Typically, we recommend that applicants submit, maybe 1 or 2 meetings into EIC because the commission can't make a decision until EIC renders their decision. But in this case, they submitted concurrently. So I'd like for them to at least go through EIC 1 meeting before we schedule the public hearing. So I'm still working through that with the applicant. So, by the 6th, we'll know which date we're choosing. And that's it for new business.
Thanks, Jen.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Just have a question on that 12 Great Pasture. Is that the same address as the previous one, or is it?
Yes.
It feels like it's different.
The name is different. It originally came in as
TRAD.
Yeah.
TD.
yeah,
TD
TRAD, yes, correct, LLC. And this one came in under Laurel Draper, who I guess they transferred ownership of the property.
Yeah.
I believe
Okay.
that's,
But it's the same address.
it is the same address.
Okay.
Thanks, Jen. We'll
Yep.
we'll make a note of those issues and corrections. We have nothing under correspondence. Under other matters, letter from Pondview Development LLC requesting 1-year extension on subdivision 1401 for Pondview Estates, 97 King Street, originally approved April 2nd, 2014. 1-year extension granted April 2019. Second 1-year extension granted April of 2020. Slightly confusing issue. Jennifer, did you want to explain?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I can. So this is going to be a bit long-winded, but there's a reason. So as Arnie said, you have a request for a 1-year extension of Pondview Estates. It was originally approved in April 2014. We've granted a couple extensions. We did grant an extension last year for 21, and that's set to expire next month in a week or so. So just to give you some background, Mr. Lucera petitioned the city back in October 2021 to accept Corner Pond Court. At its November meeting, the Planning Commission issued a positive referral. And if you remember, it was subject to completing some outstanding comments that the engineering department had. Mr. Lucera had done that. The road was inspected by Public Works and it was deemed to move forward. So it went to ad hoc, to the ad hoc committee, and they met in January. And they made a motion to send it back to city council with a recommendation that the city accept the road with 2 conditions. One condition is to provide clear title. Again, we're taking ownership of the road. We need clear title for that, clean title. And then if the documentation is not received, the bond letter of credit would need to be renewed. If that documentation was not received by March 16th, which was last week. Based on my discussions, and I'm sorry, city council actually approved on their consent calendar in February to accept the road. So by all intents and purposes, we accepted this road. However, they needed to comply with those 2 conditions. Most important is that first one. You have to provide a clear title to us, and there's other documentation. Based on my conversations with Corporation Counsel, as of yesterday, that information has not been received. So we don't technically own it yet because we don't have title to it. That creates some issues. And Corporation Counsel is currently working through that. But on our end, what we need to do, and 2 things. One, the letter of credit has been renewed. We received that on Monday for an exchange of the old letter of credit, which is for, I believe, almost $200,000 for that letter of credit. That's been renewed until the end of, I think it's April 2nd, 2023. So we have that in hand, so that protects the city if we ever have to draw down from that letter of credit. And the second part of that is granting the extension for the 1 year extension of the subdivision. So that's, and again, we directed Mr. Lucero that needed to happen, and that has to happen before April 2nd. So are there any questions? I apologize, it's long-winded, a lot of information, but I wanted the commission to have the backstory.
A little more to it than I would have thought.
Yes, not a simple 1-year extension.
So, but just to summarize, the city of Danbury inspected the road. It meets our standards.
Correct.
It was to be transferred to the city as a city road based on 2 conditions: clear title to the city and extension of the letter of credit. We don't have clear title.
Correct.
So we can't take it. It can't be conveyed to the city because there's no clear title. So what we're doing here as a commission is granting a 1-year extension in the hopes, I guess, that whatever obstacles are there to get clear title will go away. And essentially, and then we'll get clear title. We won't have to exercise the letter of credit. The problem kind of goes away. Is that it?
Yes.
Kind of?
Yes, in a nutshell, yes.
Okay. Any questions for Jennifer on this one? A little sticky, but our role is kind of limited. The whole idea of transferring roads is not really a planning commission issue, but we have to grant an extension so the applicant can work out his issues. Anything else? Do we need a motion on this, Jennifer?
Yes,
or?
please. Yep.
Okay, so I guess what we need a motion to approve a 1-year extension on the Pondview development subdivision.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I think it was your turn, Perry, but I think Helen. beat me.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was
You gotta get a little quicker on the draw there. So anyway, okay, motion made and seconded to approve a 1-year extension for Pondview development subdivision. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This matter gets a 1-year extension. Let's hope that the issues go away.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, commission members or staff, for today's early meeting? Well, hearing no other issues, commission members, I want Mr. Sylvain to make the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Come on, Bob.
Seconded? Bob, I think it's your turn to second.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right, motion made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Oh, we're all gonna go home and have dinner now. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your
All right.
comment.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thanks.
day, everyone. Good job.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.